chocolatiers. Welcome back to OCTOBERFEST 2025. Tonight we're going back to where it all began, the movie that defined Halloween horror, Halloween 1978, directed by John Carpenter, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, and featuring one of the most iconic horror villains of all time, the one and only Michael Myers. This isn't just a slasher, this is the slasher, the one that set the standard for everything that came after it. Every time I rewatch this movie, I'm reminded just how simple and effective it really is. There's no fancy CGI, no over-the-top gore, no massive cast, it's just pure atmosphere and tension. Carpenter made this film around $300,000, and yet it feels very timeless. It's the definition of doing more with less. This is one of those movies that literally shaped an entire genre, because before Halloween there were horror movies, clearly, but after Halloween there were slashers. The story begins on Halloween night 1963. You have a young boy named Michael Myers who murders his sister in cold blood, gets locked away, and 15 years later escapes. Now he's in this hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, silent, emotionless, wearing that now iconic white mask, and he's stalking a group of babysitters, including Laurie Strode, played by a young Jamie Lee Curtis in her breakout role. That's it. That's the plot. It's pretty stripped down, but that's exactly what works about it. You have John Carpenter's direction being very masterful here. He builds tension not through blood or jump scares, but through patience. The camera becomes the killer itself, gliding slowly, watching from the shadows, turning you into a voyeur. You never really know when Michael's going to appear, and that score, that legendary theme Carpenter composed himself, is instantly recognizable. It's very simple, it's chilling, and it gets under your skin the moment that those piano notes hit. Every single sound in this movie matters. The breathing behind the mask, the crunch of the leaves, the silence before the scream. This movie feels like Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis is phenomenal as Laurie Strode. She's vulnerable yet strong, terrified yet smart, and she wasn't the first final girl, but she's definitely that blueprint that set the stage for the rest. Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis gives the movie a philosophical weight. He's the only one who really truly understands Michael, and the way he describes him as just pure evil just sends chills down your spine. And of course you have Nick Castle as Michael Myers, or The Shape, which is probably the coolest horror movie name ever. He's unstoppable, slow, deliberate, and that's what makes him very terrifying. The genius of Halloween is what it doesn't show. You barely see any blood. There's no need for it. Carpenter builds fear out of stillness, out of what might be standing behind that dark doorway, out of what happens when you realize the killer could be anywhere, even inside your own house. This is horror through atmosphere, and that's something that most modern horror films are starting to kind of forget lately. There are so many iconic moments, come to the top of my head. I'm thinking about Michael standing by the bushes in broad daylight, the ghost sheet scenes, chilling and weirdly playful, Laurie hiding in the closet while Michael rips through the slats, and the final sequence, you have that music, the breathing, the open-ended fade out. It's pure horror poetry. Honestly, it's very hard to critique a classic film like this. Sure, some of the acting from the side characters hasn't necessarily aged perfectly, and a few pacing moments feel very slower compared to today's horror, but if you say that, you're just nitpicking. This movie was the foundation for everything that followed. Without Halloween, there's no Friday the 13th, there's no Scream, no Nightmare on Elm Street, which I just covered on the channel. Everything owes something to this film. Halloween 1978 isn't just a great horror movie, it's a cultural landmark. It defined an entire subgenre, it introduced one of the greatest horror icons ever, and it still holds up over 40 years later. It's scary, smart, and timeless. Pure, simple, terrifying. It is, in its own way, the night he came home, and horror was never the same. So with that, that is another one of down the list for OCTOBERFEST 2025. This is the last week. It's over. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I plan on carrying on for the 2018 franchise with Halloween 2018 tomorrow. So if you're loving these spooky classics, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, because like I said, we're not done yet. The boogeyman is still out there.